It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Hey, good morning and welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry Podcast on this, the 7th day of July. Okay, folks, I've had technical issues again this morning. As many of you know that are in the house or that were in the house, I don't know if you're still there or not because I lost everything. Now, first of all, if you are in the chat room, there's a bunch of people there. All good now, Mike says. That's what I needed to know because it's not all good on my end. My camera is upside down. It's from where it's always been. And I was trying to get it to flip back over, and that's when I knocked everything off. So anyway, as long as it's working, that's fine. All right, so we're going to go on with today's show and see if I can do this without screwing anything up. All right, so this is Monday Travel and Cruise Industry Podcast, coming to you from my studio in Forest, Virginia. Brought to you by Will U.S., the owner of Scoot Around, and by Chillie's Cruises. A bunch of stories this morning, plus a bunch of news. The headlines today, the lead story today is Europe cracking down on bad tourist behavior. Also today, measles vaccination not required on cruise to Roatan. Serenade of the Seas cancels port. Crew denied shore leave. A powder outage and propulsion issues on Harmony. NCL cancels 41 cruises. And of course, we have a weather update. Today, folks, is National Strawberry Sundae Day. Now, I'm not sure what that message is coming up. Anyway, today's National Strawberry Sundae Day. I can deal with that. I prefer chocolate, but I'll eat strawberry sundaes as well. This day in history, in 1958, President Eisenhower signs the Alaska Statehood Act into law, declaring Alaska as the 49th state to join the Union. I remember it well. So, okay, so let's get on with what we're supposed to be doing here today. I'm not sure that everybody got notified on what I was doing. Why is that spinning and not in the... I am confused, which is nothing unusual. Where is StreamYard's stuff? Or I went in on that StreamYard. European cracking down. So it's not going into my show. This is very strange, folks. Okay, so I'm doing a little soft shoe and dance here while I'm trying to get this going here this morning. Let's try. No, I can't switch. It's not affecting the show. Okay. Yeah, but I can't. I'm not sure what I can do on my end. All right. So I need to get to... Let's try. That's YouTube. I don't want YouTube. I want a StreamYard. And StreamYard is not showing There it is. Wow. Okay. Now that we screwed about 5 minutes time up. Lord have mercy. All right, so we got a couple things to go over before we actually get to the news today. First of all, I heard from Eli on location. This was some pictures from Livorno. Of course, Livorno is a lovely city. We went into town. We were right in that building, as a matter of fact, when we were there. The clock tower and the church steeple. And she found a place to get some food and maybe an adult beverage. So that's what Eli does. And then I heard from Nate. Now, let me see. Nate was in the hot tub and they had gotten into some whales that day. He got some pictures. Didn't have the right camera to get some clips and to zoom it in. But anyway, so they got into some whales, and then I could be wrong. Don't quote me on this one. I think this was from Namibia. Yeah, that place, Namibia. That would be Crown Prince. All right, that's a little entertainment from the Crown Princess. I think that was in Namibia, and those were Namibia dancers. All right, so who else we got up here in the rack? Our buddy Jamin and Mercedes and Janice. They spent some time in Washington. That's a better picture. That's, of course, the White House. They did the White House, the Children's Museum, and the History Museum all in one day, which is just amazing. That, of course, is Janice and Mercedes. And there's Jamin and the daughter. And that's in the Children's Museum. They had a good trip to D.C. And then we've got Nick and Cindy are on the gym. I may not have this in the right order. I'm not at all sure. That's Nick and Cindy. And Cindy, that's in Nassau. You can see the hotel in the background. This is from Great Stirrup Key. And that's on the gym, on the stairway. And they went to the teppanyaki. I've not been on the gym. That was the one that I had to cancel out of with Hot Air Tom. And Kenneth took my place, if you recall. And of course, that's Nick. That's at dinner in one of the dining rooms. So they're often going on the gym. I believe that was a short cruise, if I'm not mistaken. So they could be back home pretty soon. All right, guys. Let's see. Yeah, I did have one other thing to show you. Was it one? What was it now? It was, oh yeah, that one. Now, Hot Air Tom, where's Hot Air Tom's pictures? Okay, so I got to take a moment here because I screwed this up the other day. Let's see if I can quickly find the pictures from Hot Air Tom, which hopefully are still on my computer. Here we go. I thought I had all these loaded up. You know, he went down to he was in Port Canaveral, and he went down to the rocket ships a bunch of times. And so that's the rocket that shoots the people off to someplace. He keeps trying to get inside the thing, and that's him sitting on the left-hand seat as it's getting ready to get launched. Not sure if he actually stayed on it till he got out of there, because he ends up going back over there to the hotel, and that's Hot Air Tom in the swimming pool. And then that's Hot Air Tom naked in the hot tub. Absolutely. And that may be more information than you want, folks. But Hot Air Tom was naked in the hot tub. And right after he got out of the naked hot tub experience there at the hotel, he did some entertainment for the rest of the game. That's our own Hot Air Tom. Let's give him a hand, folks. Okay, so maybe I might have stretched the truth just slightly on that, but that's neither here nor there. All right, I'll be back with the news now that I got the computer figured out. After a quick break from one of our fine network sponsors. I got some information to tell you about my chair. I'll be back in a second after the break. Okay, I'm bound and determined to screw things up today. So, literally, when I was struggling trying to get on, that couple minutes that I was late, the damn phone rings. Well, I think it's Hot Air Tom or somebody telling me you're not on the air. Well, I knew that wasn't on the air, but it was the chair people calling from Roanoke. And they says, well, we tested everything. Your battery was good. Your charger was good. Your control arm, that's with the joystick, was bad. So we've replaced your chair's ready. You can pick it up this afternoon. And it's gonna be more money than a charger was, of course, but it's gonna be less money than the battery was. So I come out ahead on the deal. So I gotta go to Roanoke this afternoon and get my chair back. I think I'm gonna do it this afternoon. I gotta check with Amanda and everybody to see if I'm needed with other things. But anyway, that's the good news, is they got my chair fixed. All right, so we're going to start off today with some news from Europe. And our lead story today, you might call it lead stories. Travelers planning a European vacation in 2025 should be aware that many popular destinations are cracking down on bad tourist behavior with fresh bans, restrictions, and fines. From beach smoking prohibitions to restrictions on selfies and even fines for wearing flip-flops while driving, authorities across the continent are stepping up efforts to manage over-tourism while preserving local culture and environments. Here's a rundown of some of the surprising ordinances that have been instituted across Europe to help keep tourist behavior in check. Spain is setting the tone with some of Europe's strictest tourist rules. Smoking on beaches is now prohibited in many popular spots, including the Costa del Sol, Barcelona, and Balearic Islands, with violators facing fines as high as $2,300. Even vaping could land you in hot water, as doing so indoors can be treated just like smoking, resulting in similar penalties in parts of Spain. Vape aerosol can set off hotel smoke detectors, triggering fines, cleaning fees, or even cancellation of your stay. Planning on to pee in the ocean or stroll away after saving a beach lounger? That could cost you too. Public urination, including in the sea, is finable up to $879 in coastal towns like Mabea and Vigo. Meanwhile, reserving a sunbed and leaving it unattended for hours could lead to a $293 penalty in hotspots like the Canary Islands. And fashion faux pas can also hit your wallet. Walk around the city in just swimwear in places like Malaga or Barcelona, and you may get slapped with a fine. Driving in flip-flops isn't officially illegal, but if police believe your footwear is unsafe, they can issue a fine up to $234. Nightlife hotspots like Ibiza and Majorca are also cracking down. Party boats and pub crawls are out, and drunken behavior can now rack up fines as high as $3,500. I have one quick question before we go to Italy. How do you think these people police peeing in the sea? That one just goes over my head. I mean, how would the cops know? Or the lifeguards or the pee police? I'm not like a dog. I don't lift my leg. Well, of course, I don't pee in the sea either, but I don't know. That one just I found rather alarming. All right, let's see what Italy's doing. Italy is feeling the strain of over-tourism, and it shows. Venice now charges a daily entry fee of between €5 and €10 during peak periods for visitors without overnight hotel bookings, with fines up to €300, that's about $352, for those caught skipping payments. The city has also banned swimming in canals, the use of loudspeakers, and large tour groups. In Portofino, you might want to keep moving, literally. Lingering in a certain areas for selfie could earn you a $322 fine, according to the Independent. Cliff diving and swimming in dangerous spots at Lake Garda has seen tourists fine up to $820, and even a raucous game of beach football could cost you $700. Dress codes are enforced too. In Sorrento, walking around town in swimwear anywhere besides pool areas or the beach could result in fines of about $586. On the island of Sardinia, trying to take home a souvenir of a shell or a pebble from the beach can be an expensive mistake. Pocketing such keepsakes from protected coastal areas could land you with a fine of $3,516. Portugal is taking a tougher stance on disruptive tourist behavior, particularly in popular coastal areas like Albufeira. There, simply walking around town in swimwear can cost visitors up to $1,758, with even steeper fines for public nudity. Authorities are also cracking down on street drinking, spitting, and public urination. Noise is another major concern. Loudspeakers are now banned on many beaches, and breaking the rule can result in a staggering fine of up to $42,000. In an effort to reduce late-night disturbances, some regions are also cutting back on bar hours. French officials are also stepping up efforts to encourage more respectful behavior from tourists. In Paris, the dreamy picnic with wine and cheese along the Seine may sound idyllic, but drinking alcohol in public spaces is actually prohibited. Violators can face fines of up to $158. So it's best to check local rules before uncorking that bottle. According to the Economic Times, France will also enforce a sweeping outdoor smoking ban covering beaches, public parks, and areas near schools starting July the 1st of this year, with violators facing penalties of up to $134. And yes, France really does have its own version of the fashion police. Several towns along Côte d'Azur, including Cannes, have banned skimpy swimwear away from the beach. Walking around in just a bikini or going shirtless can lead to fines up to $45. Over in Greece, the islands of Santorini and Mykonos are capping daily cruise arrivals and imposing a €20, that's $23 per person fee during the peak months. Nearly 3/4 of Greek beaches must now be left free of sunbeds, and collecting pebbles or seashells as souvenirs could earn you roughly $1,172 fine. Planning a stylish visit to an ancient ruin? Think twice about those stilettos. High heels are banned on archaeological sites like the Acropolis, where damage from footwear is a concern. The fine? $1,054. All right, so there's information on a bunch more countries in Europe. I just didn't have the time to get any more of them done. So maybe for Wednesday's show, I'll do, 5 or 6 more countries and some of these silly fines, like being in the ocean. All right. The next story is a follow-up to one of our stories from Friday. Cruisers sailing the Western Caribbean to popular destinations like Roatan, Honduras can relax. The new vaccination rule in Honduras that sparked confusion last week has been clarified. According to a July the 4th update from the U.S. Embassy in Honduras, the country's new measles and rubella vaccination requirement does not apply to foreign visitors, including cruise ship guests arriving at ports like Roatan.
We have the equipment you need to stay mobile. Whether you need a wheelchair, scooter, power chair, rollator, oxygen, or other pieces of mobility equipment, Scootaround powered by Will can help. Once you've booked your rental, we can deliver it to wherever you need. For your mobility needs, contact me or call Scootaround at 888-441-7575. Use SRN 11137 for the best rates.
Crew members on board the luxury ship Azamara Onward were facing a makeshift quarantine following an outbreak of gastrointestinal illness during the current sailing. Because of the outbreak, crew members were not permitted to debark when the ship visited Saint-Tropez on the French Riviera on Saturday. The port is a tender port requiring small boats to ferry guests and crew members to the dock, but crew will not be allowed on tenders with the guests. Serenade of the Seas June 29th sailing had one less port visit than scheduled due to a technical issue. The ship skipped Icy Strait Point. The nature of the technical issue was not disclosed.
Experience Alaska at an affordable rate. VR1 balconies are only $1,289, including taxes and port charges. MSC Poesia sails from Seattle, May 25th, 2026. Book now. Call 258-96264 or go to bit.ly/Poesia-Alaska1.
A few days after some minor electrical issues caused a firewall to go down, Harmony of the Seas began having power outages. The power began shutting off in different parts of the ship in the early morning hours of July the 4th, prompting the captain to begin making emergency announcements about the situation. It was also noted in the announcements that the ship was sailing at 10 knots due to the reduced propulsion and was still heading safely to the next port. Throughout the night, technicians were able to restore most of the power and in time since have brought the systems all back in place and is now fully operational. Unfortunately, due to the propulsion issues caused by the power outage, embarkation of the July 5th voyage out of Galveston on Harmony has been delayed by an hour, but that's all. Norwegian Cruise Line is redeploying Norwegian Breakaway and the Norwegian Prima in late 2026. The following cruises, 41 total, have been canceled. The Norwegian Breakaway from November 8th, 2026 through March 28th of 2027, and the Norwegian Prima from November 15th, 2026 until March 28th, 2027. Norwegian Breakaway was scheduled to sail from San Juan, Puerto Rico during this time, offering cruises to the Southern Caribbean. Norwegian Prima was scheduled to sail from New Orleans on 7-night cruises to the Western Caribbean. At this time, the Norwegian has not said what the new home ports for the two ships will be during that period. In case you're wondering why there's a picture of me and Tony, that was taken on the Breakaway, the first time I was on Breakaway. And I just thought I'd put that one up. Tropical Depression Chantel is moving across southern and eastern Virginia today. Flash flood threat continues near and northeast of the center. Currently, she's about 70 miles east-northeast of Danville, about 90 miles west-southwest of Newport News, carrying maximum sustained winds of 30 miles an hour. Presently, she's moving to the northeast at 15 miles an hour. Pressure is rising up to 1,009 millibars. Chantel, which is now Tropical Depression Chantel, will continue to produce heavy rainfall across portions of Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania today. Storm total rainfall of 2 to 4 additional inches is expected, with local amounts up to 6 inches. An elevated risk of flash flooding will continue. In the Pacific, disorganized showers and thunderstorms associated with an area of low pressure located several hundred miles south-southwest of the southern tip of Baja California continue this morning. Some additional development is possible today, but the system is quickly running out of time as it moves west-northwest into more stable environment with drier mid-level air and progressively cooler waters expected by tonight. The chance of formation over the next 48 hours is 20%. However, over the next 7 days, it remains at 20%. All right, that's going to put an end to the news portion of today's show. So let's go over and see who's in the chat room, if I might not have lost them this morning. Jane was with us. Good morning, Jane. She's one of our friends from X. Mike's here. Steve's here out in Kentucky. Hi, Steve. Kenneth is with us up in Pennsylvania. Says, good morning, everybody. There's Roger in Jacksonville. Hey, Roger. Gary Older Than Dirt's here. Kenneth says, morning, Gary. When's your next cruise? And I stuck a note in there, tech issues. That's when I was trying to get on and couldn't. Mike says, thanks for letting us know. Gary says, February 7th, MSC out of Orlando. Yep, I'll be with Gary on that one. Mike says, time for a new computer. It's starting to drive me crazy, but I just can't chunk out $1,000 right now. I still got to go pick up that damn chair today. It's still an expensive proposition, even though it's better than it could have been. Sonny says, hello. Hello, Sonny. Down in Mississippi, there's Katie. She's up on what's that island's name? Oh, yeah. Oh, for heaven's sakes. Martha's Vineyard. Duh. Mike says hi to Katie and Sonny. There's Gretchen out in Ohio. I was thinking about you this morning, Gretchen, because I had some pictures that I was going to take, and I just ran out of time from your celebration on the 4th. Amy's with us. Good morning, Amy. Everybody's still speaking back and forth. Maybe Chillie will have to record this later. Yeah, no, I finally got it going. Where's Tom? Tom is in the car today, driving from Florida to South Carolina so he can drive into the storm, drive into all that rain. I'm going to have to check the weather here when I get off the air. I could maybe do better driving down there tomorrow morning than today, but I got to check to see what, I'm not there yet. So Todd says, good morning to everybody. Good morning, Tom. Are we having difficulties? Yes, we were. Gretchen says Myrtle Beach. Now he's in between the two. So everybody's talking back and forth here. Chillie can do the hokey pokey and turn yourself around. Yeah, isn't that the truth? Yay, Chillie's here. Yes, I did get there. Nate, super lucky being in a hot tub and knowing you don't have to rush because you're on a ship for a long time. Nice, relaxing hot tub. Yeah, he's on the back half of it now. It's hard to believe. Kenneth says, boy, Mike, I don't know if I'll be over on your side of the woods anymore with all those fines they keep adding on. Yeah, but the same thing, Kenneth. Mike could say, I don't know if I'll be back in the U.S. either because of the damn tariffs that you're adding on over here. So I don't know. Tariffs. Anyway, I'm not at all sure about this tariff business, except it's going to cost all of us money, it appears to me. I could be wrong. I'm not making a political statement. I'm just not enough of an economist to understand it. Let's put it that way. Anyway, we'll see if there's some more interest in other countries from Europe and some of their fines trying to keep untoward travelers in line. So, all right, guys, that's going to wrap it up today. I have no idea if I'm going to Roanoke this afternoon or going to Roanoke tomorrow morning. But by the time I see you guys again on Wednesday, I'll have my chair back. So that's a good thing. All right, guys. That's going to wrap me up for today. Thanks for being here. Again, my apologies for the screw ups this morning with the technical issues. I'm not at all sure why it happened today. This was different than the other day. But anyway, we'll see. I'll keep working at it. All right, guys. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, think about cruising. Hopefully one day soon we'll all get together on the high seas. Have a great Monday, everybody. A fantastic week. And I'll see you Wednesday if I don't see you sometime tomorrow. Have a great day, y'all. See you next time.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner. Hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.